Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. We're bringing you some more great Heart of the Swarm action. In the bottom right-hand corner of Belshire Vestige, it's going to be SK Telecom 1's Parting, and I think everyone's pretty familiar with Parting. Excellent year last year, managed to win the Red Bull Battlegrounds and a number of other competitions, previous World Cyber Games champion, and a fantastic Protoss player to boot. In the top of the left hand corner, perhaps not quite as well known, but also an excellent player, is Root Patraeus. And the reason I wanted to cast this game, I saw Patraeus' name, and he's from down here in Southeast Asia, so thought we'd cast this and give him a bit of exposure on the channel. I'll throw the links for both these players in the description down below, so if you want to find out anything more about them, you can there. So we're going to be seeing a Protoss versus Zerg on Belshire Vestige. And this one's going to be a little bit nostalgic, because as Pro League resumes and the map pool changes, Belshire Vestige has actually dropped out of the map pool for the first time in a long time. So plenty of new interesting 1v1 maps to celebrate a new year, and we won't be seeing Belshire Vestige near as much as we have in the past. So thought we'd cast this one for a lot of reasons, and hopefully these two players will put on a great show for us. So looks like Parting's going for a fairly standard gateway opening. Patraeus, of course, scouting out with his initial overlords. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's particularly important in Belshire Vestige to scout this location just here to the right of your natural. Protoss players do tend to like to go a double proxy gateway there, so that's the reason you can see Patraeus scouting out along these two different lines of vision. So it's just going to check to be safe for proxies, grab his hatchery, and now he's in a fairly safe position to grab his spawning pool once he gets those minerals, and there it goes down there. So it's a fairly standard hatch first opening, just ensuring that he doesn't fall prey to any sneaky Protoss tricks. Cybercore coming down now for Parting, just the one gas, so we'll see probably no quick tech rush here from Parting. Things like the Stargate and Templar openings are quite popular, but looks like Parting's just going to plow along on the one gas for the moment and grabbing his first zealot. Also got gas on the way for Patraeus. It's going to leave him with enough gas to grab Zergling's speed in a few moments, which he'll be fairly dependent on in the early stage of this game. Looks like Parting's actually going to gateway expand here. Well, now that he's got his Cybercore up as well. First zealot on the way. He's obviously feeling pretty confident, not feeling threatened by any early Zerglings. But of course he's going to be scouting out with that probe just to make sure he doesn't fall prey to any early timing attacks. So I really can't underestimate the importance of scouting for you guys, particularly those of you that are struggling on the ladder in silver, bronze, and gold. Well, that's a weird order to say it in: silver, bronze, and gold, silver, or bronze rather. Scouting is one of the key factors between games you win and lose. If you go back and watch your replays, half the time you're losing games, it tends to be because you're caught by surprise by something that you otherwise would have seen, a tech switch or something. If you just made the effort like Patraeus is, and like we can see from Parting, to ensure you know what tech choices your opponent's making. Patraeus in here actually getting those Zerglings caught there, probably not what he was quite going for, and that's allowing Parting to now throw down his tech option, which is his robotics facility. There is one of Patraeus' overlords sitting right here, so it's just out of line of sight of that robotics facility, but perfectly capable of scouting that in the next couple of minutes. Most Zerg players will hover an overlord off to the side of your base, and they're going to float these over at the 5 or 6 minute mark. This overlord realises he's a little bit premature, so he's going to pull back, but ideally this overlord would cut across here and see this robotics facility. But Parting just continuing to produce sentries here. Robo facility almost finished up, so we could very well see some sort of fairly quick immortal timing out of Parting. Indeed, there's the first immortal there. We have 2 sentries already on the field, 2 more gateways, so this could be a 3-gate robo play and could actually do a fair bit of damage if Patraeus goes for this quite economic opening that we've got. Third base going down now, starting to wall off a little bit with a Roach Warren, but Roach Warren probably not the best choice when we know there's already a robo in play. check out Patraeus' vision. He still hasn't seen that robo, particularly with this scout through the main base, which is a little bit disappointing for him. Means these immortals are going to get to the field without being spotted. You can see Parting being very careful. He's keeping the immortal up here on the high ground where he knows it hasn't been scouted, as opposed to on the low ground near his door. Players tend to rally their units to their door by default, which isn't a bad practice to get into, but it can occasionally lead to problems when your opponent rushes a few Zerglings and gets a great scout off of your unit composition. So now actually up to 4 immortals and 4 sentries, 2 immortals is looking like a very dangerous push for Patraeus, who will actually be left defending these with just roaches, and the soon-to-be 3 immortals gonna be able to hit these roaches like a freight train. So we'll see how Patraeus decides to handle this. Parting very good use of his mothership core consistently across his games, actually going up to 7 gateways now. So Parting's going to be able to execute this timing push to perfection. You'll notice he's got just enough gateways and just enough gas to continue powering off that. Going to build a pylon to ensure no Zergling counterattack can get by. Very clever use there. It means he can move out with his full force here. Doesn't want to lose this prematurely, and ensuring that he has this probe here. This probe's going to build the pylons to allow for reinforcements. Patraeus has most of his defense arrayed at his 3rd base. Got a few more Zerglings come out. We actually have Burrow, which could be very useful, particularly against the sentries and the force fields. But I just doubt there's going to be enough here in time. Parting's able to insert himself in this corner here. Great force fields from Parting. Going to keep half these roaches out of the fight, not actually firing here. And these immortals just being so cost effective. 3 kills already, 4 kills. I actually have a warp prism up here as well ahead of the pylon, so this is going to allow for warp-ins of zealots here. And there's great engagement for Parting, guys. This is textbook Protoss usage out of Parting. His force fields consistently some of the best in the business. Watch Patraeus now engage, and unfortunately Parting's cut his force in half, and half these roaches aren't shooting anything but zealots. These 3 immortals packing all the punch. We have 7 kills, 9 kills, 5 kills. These immortals are just going to rock through these roaches. Roaches burrowing to try and regain health. A few more Zerglings going to come out of this hatchery, but this Protoss force just looking incredibly terrifying. 7 zealots at a time being warped in. Force fields no longer necessary. We actually have an observer up here as well, which is nice time from Parting. The roach is going to be forced to uncover. Drones pulled off the line, but Patraeus is going to have to tap out of the game. So what a game from Parting. Unfortunate for Patraeus to go down like that, but that's what happens when you're on the ladder. And obviously Parting, fantastic Protoss player. Obviously one of the best ways to learn is by learning from your mistakes in games like this. So great timing push out of Parting. You saw he had every component of that in play at just the right time. You saw him hide the immortals here, stage 2. You saw him warping in the sentries quite even before he had warp gate. While it was researching, he'd already built 2 of the sentries, so there's plenty of energy. Warped in 2 more fairly quickly. So the key components, had plenty of sentries, got the 3 immortals that he needed, and once he got to 3, he stopped producing them and went for the warp prism. So by the time his army was up here, the warp prism was also in position. The pylon was established as a backup as well, and then just insert himself. Belshir Vestige is great for this force field play. The 3rd base of the Zerg, particularly vulnerable. You can force field the ramp or between the ramp and the hatchery with 2 or 3 force fields and just get a great angle of attack. The Zerg are forced to go all the way around, and their units, which have much smaller range than the immortals, just get absolutely owned by them. So as you can see, 9 kills, 10 kills, 13 kills on the immortals. And if we go to the losses tab for a second, you see just how slanted that was in the favour of the Protoss. So excellent push executed from Parting, something I think all of our Protoss can learn from. I certainly taken a few tips from that myself. So hope you guys have enjoyed it, and we'll catch you all in the next cast. Thanks guys.